Hey, what's up, everybody? You're listening to the Enterprise Architecture Radio. If you're thinking about organizational complexity and agility, if you're concerned about operational efficiencies and thinking of taking it to the next level, if managing innovation is one of your priorities, you've come to the right place. On this podcast, we talk about all of that and more. It's a jungle out there, and we'll attempt to navigate this jungle of frameworks, methods, and most importantly, enterprise architecture in practice. So in my previous episode, we talked about storytelling and we talked about how technology is taking over the narrative by being able to tell stories. Let's continue that idea a little bit. When I was young, and this is just when I had passed out of college, I took up a job into sales. I started my career as a salesman and then later on moved into IT. So I used to live in a city nearby where I used to work, and every once in a while, after a couple of weeks, I would over the weekend come home by train, and after the weekend I would go back to that city. This was the time when we did not have mobile phones. So what I used to do is I used to go to that city by train, get down, go to a STD PCO, which is basically a public phone, pay some money, call back my mother and tell her that I've arrived safely. That's how my mother used to know that, everything is fine. But once in a while I used to forget. So what my mother used to do is give me a postcard with an address written and on the other side written that I've arrived safely. And she used to give me the postcard and said, I know you feel lazy every once in a while to call me up, so just drop this postcard into the post box outside the railway station and it'll arrive to me and I'll know that you've arrived safely. You should just write, I have arrived safely on the postcard and give it to me. And it was sweet. What I'm trying to say is, and I used to do that, I'd get down on the railway station, post a postcard, and 2 days later my mother would know that I've arrived safely. And that sounds, I don't know what it sounds like, but in today's day and age when I go to office, and if my wife calls me and if I don't pick up the phone twice, which is, 5 or 10 minutes, she gets worried. Things have changed so much. Technology has made our life very different from what it used to be. In fact, I wanted to talk about this. If you look at the gadgets that we used to use in the past, these gadgets used to save our time, right? It used to make our life more productive from the perspective of giving us more time to do other things, right? If you look at the washing machine, you put clothes into the washing machines and, set it on a timer or whatever, and in an hour and a half, the clothes will be washed automatically. So I don't have to go and wash my clothes, which basically saves my half an hour, 1 hour, depending upon how many clothes I'm washing. If you look at the refrigerator, I don't have to go to the market every day to buy fresh vegetables. I can just bring the vegetables once a week, put it into the refrigerator, and I have vegetables every day. And it saves my time of going to the market. If you look at the microwave oven, I put my food into the microwave and it automatically gets cooked and I don't have to stand there and cook my food, which basically saves half an hour, 1 hour of my time. But today, if you look at the technology, it doesn't save time. It rather, how should I put it, takes away my time, right? It kills my time. Look at mobile phones today, right? They're smartphones and you have apps on it like Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and Netflix and all of that. And you can spend hours and hours on it and not realize. Look at the televisions. They're getting smarter and smarter and more entertaining. They're getting bigger and bigger. And the OTT platforms, they're getting more and more engaging and more interesting. And we don't realize how much time we are killing by getting into these technologies. And I'm not on a rant to belittle the latest technologies that are there, in fact. But this is a realization that I had a couple of years ago. My son, elder son, who, by the way, is my biggest critique, and he thinks that I say, what have you a lot on my podcasts, and that I should say something else instead of that. We put him into a school that was a Montessori education system, and one of the things that the teachers told us is that we should not allow screen time to the children. It's a extremely high-speed form of entertainment, or even if we are showing them knowledgeable TV shows like Discovery or WWF or any other TV show, the information that they receive is too fast, and that it's not good for their attention span. So we stopped watching television as well. They said that it's a good idea because it's not good that you watch television and don't allow them to watch, because they learn from what they see, and it's not fair. So it's a good idea if you also stop watching television. And so for a short period of time, while he was very young, we stopped watching television entirely. And it was unbelievable how much time we started getting, for productive work. So I used to read a lot. I used to spend a lot of time with the children, and I used to, write a lot. And there were so many things that I could do more, just because it opens up 2 or 3 hours in the evening of television time. So what I'm trying to say is, in the past, technology used to save time, but in today's day and age, technology eats away our time. It kills our time. It takes away time from us. We do more things for it rather than it does for us. And I think of it like this, that earlier technology used to be an infant, now it's a teenager, and as a child grows, initially it takes a little maintenance, but later on it takes more and more maintenance. And then once the technology matures, it really starts supporting and helping us in our life, while it is already very different from what it was. The upcoming 10 years are going to be vastly different from what it is today. If you notice, technology depends more and more on our senses, right? Earlier it used to be panels on which we used to push buttons. So microwave ovens or washing machines or any other technology used to be controlled by buttons. We used to press buttons and they would work. Slowly, we have smarter panels. What that means is that these panels rely more on our eyes. They are more responsive. They are more touch-based. They have less number of buttons and more, touch-based user interfaces, and they rely more and more on our eyes. Right? We have to look at these panels. We have to constantly keep looking at these panels, and all the applications that we have on our mobile phones or our tablets that rely on our eyes are those applications that steal most of our time. So whether it's Netflix or whether it's Instagram or whether it's YouTube, these are apps and technologies that want our attention, right? They want us to keep looking at them, to spend more time on them, and so on and so on. There are other applications and other technologies that rely more on our ears and our speech, right? And we are making tremendous amount of progress in areas like that. And that's one of the reasons I don't create a YouTube channel. I have a podcast. This is a podcast because I don't want you to constantly keep looking at the screen. You can listen to this podcast while you're doing something else, while you're running or while you're driving. It makes your time more productive. All technologies that rely on your ears and your speech are technologies that will save time for you, that will do something productive for you. Today, technology is such that it needs our attention. But very soon, a time is coming when technology will be such that it will just work. It will not require our attention. Today, for example, we've got wearable devices and Internet of Things and sensors and things talking to things. Refrigerators are smart, televisions are smart, watches are smart. We wear devices, we carry devices that know what we do. In fact, I was thinking about it earlier. We used to have a mass audience of things. People would advertise on the television that buy this washing powder or buy this food item or what have you, and that used to be the mass audience. Today we have personalized advertising. Our devices know what we buy. They know what we prefer. They know what we watch on television. They know what I like eating, because all the apps on my phones are where I am doing all my shopping. Amazon knows exactly what I like, right? And when it advertises, it shows me products that are suitable for my needs, my demands, my desires, my wants, and it's very, very personalized. So the technologies are becoming more and more personalized, and they're becoming more individualistic. And now they are becoming more and more autonomous, right? It doesn't really need to wait for me to do something to help me out, right? My phone, my watch reminds me to get up every couple of minutes or a couple of hours. It reminds me to drink water. It reminds me to exercise, to follow a healthy lifestyle. It does not wait for me to tell it to do something. It tells me to do things. So technology is changing the narrative. Technology is taking control of the stories that we're telling each other. It's becoming more and more autonomous. I was thinking about the speed of connectivity, and we used to have 2G, which was fast, and then came 3G, which is, about 50 to 500 times faster than 2G, and then 4G came, which was also about the same magnitude faster than 3G, and then now there is 5G, which is again about 100 times faster than 4G, and we have 6G coming. Now 6G is also going to be 500 times faster than, or 100 times faster than 5G. And it makes me wonder, why do we need internet to be so fast? Why does technology need to access data so quickly, near real time? So 5G already is fast enough to be able to download an entire movie in a few seconds, right? In a second or 2 seconds. 6G is going to be 100 times faster than that. The question is, why do we need it to be so fast? But we think like that because we live in a different world. 6G is designed for the future. It's designed for 10 years from now. And the technology is going to be vastly different from what it is today. There's a possibility that we may have autonomous cars in which cars are going to be talking to cars, and they'll have to take split-second decisions of who goes first, or when to stop, or when to go fast, and all these decisions are going to depend on the communication between the cars, and devices are going to be talking to devices at a rate that we cannot imagine, and I think that more than the visual world, I think it'll be more an auditory and a speech driven world where people will, like today, people are more and more engaged with their devices. Tomorrow they'll be less and less engaged with their devices. Devices will just do their job, and people will continue to focus on what they're focusing. Now, today, people are spending a tremendous amount of time on things that are not very productive, to be honest, because the devices have been designed that way. Social media wants your attention to be able to give you advertisements so that you can buy more products, and product companies are selling more products via these social media, and bite my biscuit, I was about to say, what have you. So that ideally should change. I think if we are going towards a better world, a more beautiful world, and if we are truly leveraging technology, then the world needs to get more productive. Of course, I'm not saying that there should not be any entertainment. I'm just saying I think we really need to see how much amount of time we are spending on non-productive activities. And all these smart mobile phones today tell you in a great amount of detail how much time you're spending on social media, on watching screen time, and on entertainment, and give you statistical data about it. And if we look at that, and if we take control of that, life could get better. But the question is not how much time you're spending on social media. The question is, are we designing the technology so that we encourage more non-productive time on non-productive activities, or are we designing the technology to make our life better? And that narrative and that story, I think we should have control over. Unfortunately, I think we are on a precipice, and I think technology is taking more and more control over that narrative. Let's change that story. That's all I have for you today, folks. I hope you enjoyed the show. More about organizational agility, innovation, and enterprise architecture in the practical world, in the business, right here on the show. But before I end the show, I want you to help me out with this one little thing. Pause the show and share this podcast via WhatsApp or text message with at least one person who might be interested in the show. It could be anyone, your colleague, your boss, someone in your team. That's all I ask. Just one share with one message via text or WhatsApp or any social media of your choice. And it would go a long way in supporting this podcast and growing this listener base. Also, please don't forget to follow the podcast. That way, you'll get notified when we publish a new episode. If you want to find out more about us, you can find us at enterprisearchitectureradio.com. If you have ideas, thoughts, disagreements, please feel free to write to me directly. We also have a Telegram group if you would like to contribute to the EA discussions or what have you. Just search for Enterprise Architecture Radio on Telegram. Or the URL to join the group is https://t.me/Enterprise Architecture Radio. While our contact details are there in the show notes, we are very easy to find. Just search for Enterprise Architecture Radio anywhere. Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, even Discord. Once again, I hope you had fun, and I'll see you in the next one.